My name is Termi Bunny, and today I have really wanted to talk about, I think, one of the biggest conspiracies of 2026 so far, and it's called Conformity Gate. If you guys don't know what Conformity Gate is, let me explain it to you. So, it's about Stranger Things and the final season, and basically everyone kind of thinks that there's going to be another episode or some hidden secret meaning or something's going on with the finale, and I'm here to talk about it. Here's my disclaimer. If you haven't seen Stranger Things, or if you haven't seen the finale and you want to, I would advise you to click off this video and stop watching until you have. And if you don't really care and you're okay with spoilers, then proceed with caution. Let's start. One of the main things that Conformity Gate is the idea that after season 5 ended that we're gonna have another episode, because the finale just had way too many, it just had too many things that were out of place that didn't match up with the rest of the show. For example, a lot of people noticed in the last episode that Mike, when they were all playing D&D in the basement, Mike's door had actually switched sides entirely. The entire show has been on, the doorknob has been on the left side, and in the finale it was on the right side, which, why would they randomly do that? And even if people were like, well, they switched doors, things happen, cool, but how would it switch sides entirely is my question. But that's just one of the many things that happened. Because of all the inconsistencies for the finale, people just kept saying how it must be fake, like something must be going on, Vecna must have not really died, and a lot of people were saying that, I don't know too much about D&D, but they were saying that Vecna probably cast an illusion to make it seem like he was killed, but in reality, essentially he's just casting an illusion on the entire town to make them believe that everything is fine and things are okay, but they're not, because apparently Vecna can upgrade into this other form that's even bigger than him, and it's more strong, and it happens after he quote-unquote dies. So that would make sense after they killed him, right? It only took 6 minutes for him to die, which it's been 2 seasons, so why would it take 6 minutes? Anyway, point being, another thing that I was really confused about, so if I can play clips, I'll play clips, but if I can't, then it's fine. But at the very end, when everyone was in the truck, they were going from the upside down back into the real world. So they were all, as far as I remember, and again, if I'm wrong, I'll go back, the truck locks on the outside, and everyone was on the inside of the truck, so there's no way for them to open the truck from the inside, right? That's my first cue, right? So then when they all get taken out of the truck and they're all looking for 11 and she's not on the back of the truck all of a sudden, and she just appears in the upside down at the portal, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, 11, what are you doing? How does she get out of the truck? That was the first point. The second one, if Callie was casting an illusion spell, I guess my point is they went and killed Vecna, right? So it took them 6 minutes to kill Vecna. Callie's been alive for 30 minutes by now, right? And she's supposed to be dying. So how is she staying alive for this 30 minutes or whatever it takes for them to get into the abyss, kill Vecna, come back, ride away happily on the truck? How did she get the cue to know? And first of all, how was she alive this long? Second of all, how did she get the cue to know that 11 needed help to get out of the truck, or make it look like she got out of the truck, to stay in the upside down, to cast the illusion spell, and do all that? That is another level of do you not think people will think about this after the show? So that to me is just crazy. But also that, right? And then 11 can talk to Mike in her brain, which, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I just don't remember this in any other season. She can touch Mike in her head. I mean, she's in his head, right? But she can touch him, and they can kiss and do all that. They can do that now? When was this a thing? Am I just blurring that out of the other seasons? I don't remember that. And then on top of that, she can stop time. So when he's in her head, when she's in his head, she can stop time, because didn't he freeze mid, a military man threw him to the ground, right? Didn't he freeze mid throw, and then they were talking in his head, and then all of a sudden he gets kicked out, and then he continues falling to the ground. Isn't that what happened, right? So if she can freeze time when she's in people's heads, why didn't she freeze time when she was in Max's head when they were trying to find all the kids in Vecna's house? Do you guys see what I'm saying here? Like, why does stuff just start working when they need it to work? So that was my question. Is like, I have so many, like, there's so many things just like that don't make sense, and it's like, why does it just make sense for the plot of the episode, right? Another thing is, a lot of people are saying that this is very similar to The Truman Show, which ultimately is about a guy named Truman, played by Jim Carrey, and he is living his whole life, and like, it's a perfect life, and like, stuff just starts happening, and like, lights fall from the sky, and like, come to find out, obviously his whole life has been filmed. He had no awareness of it, and then he eventually leaves. And that is the end of the movie. People are saying this is very much like Stranger Things, because Mike is in a trance and he thinks everything is fine, the town is fine, like everything's happy, there's a happy ending, and then he leaves out the door in the same kind of way that Truman leaves out the door, and that's just the end of it.
This is 10 ways in which the Stranger Things finale emulates The Truman Show, both being about fake realities. This is crazy. First of all, the newest Times Magazine cover is the Stranger Things cast on this blue cloudy background, exactly like the Truman Show poster. The Truman Show ending is the exact same as Stranger Things. They both walk up a set of stairs, and the last shot is them going through a door into the real world. Even just that, but there's tons of references to the Truman Show throughout the last season, including this part where he draws the marker around his face exactly like Truman Burbank did. This is a photo of the inspiration board behind Stranger Things Season 4 and setting up the ending, and it says right there in that red circle, Truman Show. In the Truman Show, a big theme is exit, and especially this red exit sign. You can clearly see it behind Truman a lot throughout the movie, and it's right there, giving him a hint that he needs to get out. Well, in the epilogue, it was right behind Will. And in the epilogue, it was right behind Joyce and Hopper. And it was even behind Lucas and Max in the cinema in the corner, very small. Not only that, but this is the only season where Will has ever changed his haircut, and it just happens to look like Truman Burbank. A big thing in the Truman Show is product placement, where they show a product quite clearly and make it obvious to all of the viewers. That is literally what Murray done with the Gatorade and with other stuff throughout that last season. Not only that, but Murray actually done real life adverts just like they would have done in the Truman Show. Take a look at this.
Freshness is the first line of defense against interdimensional predators. Call your local Target for more information.
Now this one, I'm really reaching at straws here, but look at that right there. That is the exact fit of Mr. Watson. Maybe he was watching Truman as well. Anyway, my point is, both of these things are about a fake reality with a bunch of little details that people have started to notice that are off. Just like Truman did in his world, we're noticing it in Hawkins, like the blank poster, the way they're sitting, and a bunch of other stuff.
So, a lot of people were saying, because he's in a trance, and I wanted to record this before tonight, but I don't think I'm going to. But apparently, Finn Wolfhard, who plays Mike, is going to be hosting Saturday Night Live tonight, January 17th. So, the fans are saying there's probably going to be another episode after this, and maybe his hosting on the show will somehow lead into the dream or the illusion of Stranger Things, and maybe he wakes up. I don't know, but that's a whole other thing. Just, it's a lot of inconsistencies with color and like the time, or the wheel and the timer or whatever it is inside the radio station. It was, at one point it was black, and then a little bit later it turns red and stuff like that, right? At the very end, Mike and Nancy, their haircuts resemble their parents, and they never wanted to become their parents, which I think is very weird. A lot of people were also relating it to Henry's hairstyle, because I guess that's, it was the same kind of hairstyle as Henry, so they're kind of like, maybe that's another visual cue. During the graduation, the gowns are supposedly, I think they're supposed to be green and they're orange. The lens being shot in the same exact lens and color as the Abyss. It's really just small stuff like that people have picked up on. There's blank posters, there's stuff that hasn't been answered. What happened to Vicky? What happened to Susie? What happened to all these background characters we don't hear about? What happened to Derek's parents? What happened to Tina? Like, they were just locked in the bar and they're just locked there? Like, what happened to them? A lot of people noticed that the song by David Bowie, Heroes, is only used in like fake death scenes. Like when we assumed Hopper was dead, that was played during that point, but he obviously wasn't dead. It's just stuff like that. The symbolism, and then we hear, like, it to me, it's like they've had no real inconsistencies for the last few seasons. So why is it this season that all of a sudden stuff starts adding up? That I'm confused about. And maybe they're just really bad writers. Maybe they just like messed up and like maybe they genuinely just did this stuff for like Easter eggs or like I don't know. Maybe they just did stuff like that. But from what I understand, the Duffer Brothers are big D&D fans, right? So they know like what they're doing enough to know that it can't just end like this. And maybe I'm just being delusional. But like, do you guys see what I'm saying though? Like, it's just so much stuff and it doesn't make sense that all of a sudden it's like, okay, yeah, I guess we're gonna end it. And then, so a lot of people were also speculating that on originally they thought January 7th was the day that episode 9 would be released. Because essentially they were saying like, they wanted us to feel like Joyce in season 1 when Will goes missing for the 7 days, right? They were thinking, you know, between the 1st and the 7th, that's 7 days. So then we'd feel like Joyce and we'd feel crazy, like there's no possible way that it could end like this, right? January 7th came, we did not get an episode, and all these like huge newscasters, like the Stranger Things spoilers account, I believe it was, they had posted a tweet and they tagged all the people that were involved with like basically lying to the fans and like coming up with Conformity Gate and saying you guys are delusional, you shouldn't be doing this, it's such a disgrace and it's rude against the cast and the crew and the people who worked on the show and the season. First of all, why can't we be allowed to love something so much? And this goes for the people that are in the comments too, typing like, you guys are so delusional. I just don't think there's anything wrong necessarily with us wanting to believe in either another episode. People are saying maybe a movie, or there's a couple people saying 3 new episodes. Like, I truly don't understand how that harms anyone for us to feel like, I guess for us to want to believe in something, because clearly all of these people like the show. They like the show so much and they're such huge fans of this show, found all of these inconsistencies, which I feel like they were placed with a purpose. They weren't placed like, it didn't feel like it was like rushed, right? It felt like these inconsistencies were here for us to find. It doesn't feel like it was just there to be there. Like, it doesn't feel like lazy writing to me. And again, maybe it is. Maybe it is. And I know the cast has been saying, like, there's no other episodes. The Duffer Brothers have said there's no other episodes. They say the ending's up for interpretation. Like, I truly feel like if it's truly over, why all the inconsistencies? Why the visual cues? Why the orange gowns? Why is Mike all of a sudden a writer? I don't remember him ever liking writing. That was just kind of thrown at us. And then the other thing that just kind of threw me off, and maybe I haven't really seen anyone mention this, but the fact that Will and Vecna, because me and my sister, I mean, we've been strategizing, right? She doesn't believe in Conformity Gate, she thinks I'm crazy. But Will and Vecna are like tied together, right? They can feel the same things or whatever. My question is, because as far as we know, if Vecna's hurt, Will is hurt, right? Why all of a sudden, I believe it was episode 4 when we found out Will had powers, why is it so inconsistent now and all of a sudden he just doesn't feel anything? Like, that to me is one of the biggest red flags. Why does he not feel anything? The Demogorgons are all tied to Vecna, right? Will should have been folded up. Like, he lifted 3 Demogorgons and killed 3 Demogorgons. There's no way he did not feel a single ounce of their pain. Like, there's just no way. And then when he like fought Vecna the first time and when he went to his mind and he was trying to help Max and he like broke Vecna's leg, there's no way he didn't feel that. Now, some people might argue just because they're Demogorgons, maybe they're not connected to him, whatever. Why didn't he feel the pain of breaking Vecna's leg? That's what I'm confused about. He really just like sat there and was like perfectly fine. I'm confused about that. If at the very end when Joyce cut off his head, why didn't Will feel that? I'm so confused at all these inconsistencies. You guys spent 2 seasons. You spent 4 and 5 and 3, some of 3 because of Billy and stuff. You spent season 4 and 5 building up Vecna as a villain, as this all-time like huge and great villain, for him just to die in 6 minutes. What are we talking about? You're gonna tell me, oh my gosh, like the very first episode, we literally saw that he's like tied to Vecna. Why all of a sudden is he not feeling anything Vecna feels? It's ridiculous and it's crazy. It's like they made this such a great show. Like, they truly did. It's such a great show. And then for this last season, it's just kind of like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? All this stuff is, oh my gosh, bro. Oh my gosh. I could go on. But it's like, why are we... Oh my god. Anyway, another thing is like Netflix, the actual Netflix account, like all the Netflix accounts in like Netflix Germany and Netflix India, all the Netflix accounts changed their logo like January 6th or January 5th, right? Before January 7th, because we all thought it was January 7th. They changed their logo to the Netflix like upside down version of, you know, the Netflix symbol. And then they have the nerve, and I'll show a picture, to put Vecna on the outside so it looks like he's grabbing it. Why would they do that? If they know that this fandom has like lost their mind over Conformity Gate, why would they do this on January 6th? So January 6th, Jamie Bauer, who plays Vecna, or he was on the Jimmy Fallon show, you know, he talked about like, you know, the show, and then they had like the workout video. I'm gonna put clips of everything if I can, but if I can't, I'll just put pictures. They put a workout video where he's literally like playing into the character of Vecna still, which I guess it's a pretty big character for him, right? But he's playing into the character and he's like, tonight, like it'll happen, like tonight's the start.
All right, everybody, it is time to turn those pounds
Upside down!
Open the gate. Are you ready? Okay, everyone, I believe you all have dormant powers, and I know that if we work together, we can awaken those powers. Let's go, come on. And you are the light. You are the light. Let's channel our energy. Let's channel our energy. Tomorrow, it begins. Let's do the clock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
As I was saying, on January 6th, Vecna said tomorrow it begins, and he counted to 12 like a clock. So we count on January 7th, that's day 1, so, right? Keep up with me. January 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. The countdown ends on exactly Sunday, January 18th. The clock strikes midnight, and a new cycle begins the next day. That's technically the 18 months of connection. And you're probably like, well, 18 months and 18 days are two different things. But we're talking about the Duffer Brothers here. These guys are D&D encyclopedias and Spielberg's devout students. They don't do random coincidences. They know pop culture inside and out. Anyway, point being, 18. 18 is the biggest number here. And like, I don't know if the cast and crew is like purposely playing into Conformity Gate, or if they're just like, if they're just doing it just to do it, or like if they're trolling us, or like adding hype. Like, I don't understand it. I don't personally understand it and why they're doing this to us. I watched a 3-minute video about the legal process of season 5, episode 9, because they're basically saying, I'll just summarize it for you, but she's basically saying that it's not legally registered how a season should be registered if it was completed. And then it's just seriously so much stuff, and I don't know. It's so much. I just feel like we missed out on a lot. Yeah, it was done off screen. Okay, cool, but why was it done off screen? Like the breakup between Susie and Dustin, apparently. Or like Vicky and like Robin, are they still together? Like, did Robin tell anyone else she likes women? Like, what's going on here? It's just so much going on, and it's so many inconsistencies that just don't make sense. Even like, okay, so there's this one person who tweeted, I bookmarked a ton of things. So apparently there's a playlist that's made from, in the perspective of Rock and Robin, it's officially from Netflix. So it's like an official Netflix thing. And the person went through and they said that each line lines up with the broadcast. So the broadcast one is like Good Morning Hawkins, broadcast 2 is listening to the Squawk, and then so forth and so on, right? Each broadcast lines up with a line from each episode. So broadcast 1 is episode 1, broadcast 2, so forth and so on. They're saying that there's 3 broadcast episodes that don't line up with any of the actual episodes. Number 9 apparently starts with Freddy from Ohio. They're saying Freddy as in Freddy Krueger. This is about the documentary that came out January 12th, because a lot of people are speculating maybe the documentary is more so like Freddy Krueger's New Nightmare, which originally starts with a documentary styled film, and then Freddy comes and he starts terrorizing the people and kills them and blah, 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 whatever, right? Watch the movie. They're saying essentially that was what they thought the documentary was going to be about on January 12th. But the documentary people are now saying is more like a mockumentary. It's making fun of stuff. Like, it's not meant to be taken seriously because there's going to be more stuff in the future, more episodes, maybe a movie, whatever, right? So back to what I was saying. Broadcast 9 is about Freddy Krueger. Not to mention, Robert Englund, the guy who plays Freddy Krueger, was in Stranger Things. And I think it was last season. He played Henry Crowell's dad. Let's not forget that. They clearly have, I mean, not ties, but I'm not going to say like it's Freddy Krueger, but like, you know, clearly they're fans of Freddy Krueger, so that's interesting. But yeah, they were saying 3 extra broadcasts that don't line up with any of the episodes. Number 10 is about tubing. Maybe they're saying it's a reference to the wormhole. They're also saying it lines up with the documentary poster, that there's 12 boxes, 8 episodes of the documentary, and then there's 3 more, equaling 12. A lot of people are speculating, again, that Mike Wheeler is in a trance. That's why he's hearing the static through the speakers. He is essentially just kind of dazed after everything that happens. He doesn't really have a lot of screen time. And on top of that, Vecna has really attacked everyone in his family except for him. It would make sense Mike is next, right? Stay with me. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of things that these fans have pulled up that's just kind of like, they're not wrong. Oh, yeah, the main part. In the documentary, it opens with a lecture on the importance of color. And that's kind of our like ring or hint towards color being very important this season. Yellow and blue and gray are kind of saturated throughout the documentary, which kind of equals like Vecna's mind and the upside down, and like, you know, white is reality, which is being erased. They told us to watch the colors. Are you guys keeping up with me here? Because you guys aren't with me. You guys aren't on the same level of delusional that I'm on right now. I have been looking at this for like the last 2 weeks. Ever since the finale, I've been looking at this. I mean, I could really go on. I have a ton more saved. I've already been recording for 30 minutes. So I'm kind of like, I should probably stop. But essentially, my final thoughts on everything, right? My final thoughts, my final conspiracy. I don't know if there's gonna be 3 new episodes, another episode, a movie, whatever. I would absolutely love it if they did. I truly believe, and I've said this multiple times, I believe that that would be one of the greatest like film choices of all time. If they didn't do this, which I'm feeling like they didn't, but if they didn't, it just feels like such a misdirection. Like the things they could have accomplished if they just like took the time to slow down a little bit and like rewatch this show and make sure stuff wasn't inconsistent, if that's what they weren't trying to do. It just feels very out of place compared to the previous seasons. I don't know, maybe they just got greedy at the end and they're like, who cares? Let's wrap it up. They did say that they went into this season without knowing how the ending was gonna go, so that could be an indicator that they just didn't care. I don't know, man. I truly believe, hopefully, something else happens. If not, then it is what it is. I'm not going to be too upset about it, but this has been a wild ride to be on the last 2 weeks, if you've truly been invested as much as I have been. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. So it is what it is. What do you guys think? Do you guys think there could be another episode, or 3 more episodes, or a movie, or whatever people are speculating? Do you think there's more, or do you think it was actually a finale? Another thing I wanted to add in was when Will was saying he doesn't like girls and whatever, he was mentioning in his speech, he's like, yeah, I really like getting lost in the woods. Why would he say that? Why would Will say that? He got lost and went to this like scary dimension. I think he was 12, right? 11 or 12. He got lost and went to a scary dimension that's like a mimic of his world, but like evil essentially, and like darker, and like creepy lightning and monsters and everything wants to kill him. You're gonna tell me that he likes getting lost in the woods? He's so for real. He's so for real. You're gonna tell me that's really what he said? Even if he was being sarcastic, which he wasn't, why would he even say that? He would not say that. It's just not his character, right? He's been very like loving and passionate and caring, and he cares about his friends, and he loves his friends and his family. He just wouldn't be sarcastic. Like, he's not very sarcastic. And then he said he likes to get milkshakes at Melvald's. Not once in this entire show have we seen them get a milkshake, from what I remember. Not once have we seen that happen. So, someone pointed out that Melvald's is actually a hardware store. And if we are in this illusion that Vecna has casted, right? Vecna went to high school in the 50s, right? 50s or whatever, 50s, 60s. If we are in this illusion that Vecna has cast, the last thing that he would remember about Melvald's is that it must have been a diner at some point, right? Because that seems very 50s. It must have been a diner, and obviously, you would get milkshakes at a diner. So that's probably why Will had said that. So, and this was before they even fought Vecna. So my point being, when did Vecna really start to cast this illusion? Because I feel like people aren't pointing that out. We're all like, oh, it's after he dies. But when does he really start the illusion? Because Will said this before they started fighting him. So that's my question. When did the vision really start? I'm gonna let you guys sit with that. I'm gonna let you guys think about that, and you guys let me know. That's really all I have to say. I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you guys for watching, and I love you all. Peace!